I always meet new people in these places that I go, and of course, this city is no exception. I met somebody yesterday, and we had a really good conversation. So before my flight, we're gonna have lunch, talk shop a little bit, and then off to the airport. We're going to Tokyo. So let's get on the way. We're gonna find a little motorcycle bike, go have lunch with him, and be on the way, boys. Let's do it.
No, Tony versus the world!
What up, guys? It's Ilya, and I'm one of Tony's friends, and just wanted to share with you a couple thoughts I have about traveling, specifically about the excuses people make to not travel, because I've made a lot of excuses in my life. For example, when I was younger, I was learning how to start a business, and one of the excuses I had for traveling was like, I need to be in the physical location where my business is located, otherwise I won't be able to manage it, right? Now, as you can see from COVID, people starting to work remotely, people have overcome that objection, right? As a society, we've overcome that objection. Now everybody's working remotely, right? And actually, that was an experience I had where there was a moment when I realized that I was making excuses. It was actually when one of the employees that I hired was traveling and was doing their job well, actually better than most of my other employees while traveling. And I realized, wait, if my employee can do that, like, why can't I? Like, why am I giving myself this limiting belief of like, I can't travel right now because I need to work on my business? When in reality, I could totally be traveling and maybe even doing an even better job at managing my business because number one, I'd be more inspired, right? And number two, I'd be meeting people that would be helping me and giving me ideas. And in general, I'd be expanding my, horizons and sort of like my perspective on life, right? By traveling, by meeting people, by having different experiences. You can't really learn a lot sitting in a box alone, right? As much as you would like to, a lot of information you can't just find from scrolling through YouTube or Instagram. You actually have to meet people, get into a dialogue with them, have some sort of like epiphany about what they said and come to your own conclusions. So one of the things that I learned was that I was making a lot of excuses when it came to traveling. And it was funny that I'm gonna share something with you. I recently had a conversation with my buddy, and this guy has a remote job. He's a web developer. He makes tons of money. He lives in Seattle, which is like one of the most expensive places you can live in the US. And he pays damn near $2,000 a month for rent. And I was talking to him because I was trying to convince him to come travel with me to Mexico. I'm like, dude, it's in the same time zone as what you're working on. You can continue working. And so let's just go travel and see what it's like. And one thing he told me was like, Mexico isn't really on my list of places to travel. And I'm like, okay, hold up. First of all, you haven't been anywhere. You need to get your passport first before you can even travel outside of the US. So your perspective on like what places you would like to visit is basically like you coming up with these conclusions without actually having any concrete idea of like why you would want to visit a place or not visit a place, right? So when you say it's not really on my list of places to travel, well, what is that, right? And how are you coming to that decision? What criteria are you basing that decision on? Is it based on these like vague ideas of what that place is like? Or are you actually going to that place and then deciding if you like that place or not? So what I told him was this. I gave him a proposition. I was like, okay, come to Mexico with me for 1 week. And after 1 week, you can decide if you like it or not, right? Now, what's the downside to that? The downside is that you lose a week of your life, but not really, because you can still work while you're doing that. You also lose a little bit of money, but Mexico is really not that expensive. Here's the thing though, the upside is that you could potentially then unlock the next, if you question your assumption of, I don't really like Mexico and I don't really like to travel while I'm working, you will suddenly realize, if you realize that that assumption was incorrect, that you have the next 30, 40 years of your life, or however long you live working, you can travel while you're doing that. And now think about all the experiences you can have traveling. Think about all the people you can meet. It's literally entire lifetimes of experiences that you would be foregoing if you decided that, I'm just gonna make the assumption that traveling and working is not for me, and I'm just gonna travel a couple weeks out of the year during my vacation, as opposed to combining the two. So the upside is incredible. It's literally lifetimes of experience, of amazing people you can meet, things, places you can go, different foods you could taste, things you could hear and see and smell. Like, this is literally lifetimes of experience that you're foregoing. Why? Because of an incorrect assumption. So I would challenge you to look at the assumptions you're making, look at the excuses that you're making for travel. I don't have enough money. Okay, well, why don't we look at your budget, and why don't we look at it as a accountant or as a bookkeeper, and let's look at where we can trim some expenses, and let's look at where we can cut back on some expenses, or even better, let's look at the opportunities that you're missing to actually build an online business like I've done or my friend's done, or let's look at ways that you can actually make more money in order to fund these travels. But then even going further than that, let's look at a way that you can actually combine the two, right? Like, how could you actually continue to make money online while traveling, and actually even build a system where you can make even more money than what you're making now at your current job in order to allow you to fund these travels, which will then allow you to have more experiences, meet more people, such as myself, which will then give you more ideas so that you can make even more money, and it's an upward spiral, and we're going up, and we're letting go of our limiting beliefs. The beliefs that are not serving you right now, that are saying, well, I can't really travel because of this, right? Because of this excuse and this excuse. Let's look at them systematically and let's dismantle them, because ultimately you can choose what you want to believe in. Your beliefs aren't even real in the end, right? Like, there's that quote where it talks about how really what you experience in life is passed through the filter of your beliefs and experiences, right? So what you're experiencing, like, life is like this big party, right? And so the things that you experience is based on what you're focusing on in that party. If you focus on the people that are having a good time, you're gonna have an amazing time at that party. But if instead at that party you're focusing on how, you know, like, these people have a problem and this person spilled their drink and there's not the kind of people I want to meet here, you're gonna have a terrible time. It's the same party, but the things you're focusing dictate your experience. So let's look at your beliefs. Let's look at your excuses that you might have regarding traveling and why you can't do it right now. And let's actually change those to have more of a empowering belief versus a disempowering belief that will allow you to then figure out what the solutions are to be able to travel and have the kind of experiences that you want to have, and ultimately live the kind of life that you want to live, right? So I know this is a lot of theory, so let's bring it down to practical things you can do right now. You're watching this video, you're like, okay, Ilya, you're right. So how do I do it? Well, here's one thing. My favorite quote, one of my favorite quotes, I say this all the time, is your brain wants proof, not promises, okay? Your brain wants proof, not promises. You can promise to your brain, oh, everything is okay and I'm happy with my life, and you know, I can make these changes, but I don't even know if it could work. And your brain doesn't want that. Your brain wants proof of things actually going well, right? Like, for example, when it comes to social interactions, I talk to a lot of people that want to have a better dating life, have a better social life, but they're scared to go approach people. And part of the reason is because they're giving their brain promises, like, everything is gonna be okay. Go approach that person, nothing bad is gonna happen. Your brain doesn't care about that. Your brain cares about proof. So how do you give your brain proof? Go and do one small thing. Like, go and have one small interaction with somebody and watch how you didn't dematerialize into a bunch of atoms. Watch how nothing bad happened. You might actually have a great interaction with that person, and that gives your brain the proof that it needs to then build on top of that and have even better and better and better interactions. So if you're having trouble getting started, the practical thing right now is, number one, like I said, audit your beliefs and your excuses that you're making. Number two, put them to the test. Is this really true? Is it really true that you don't have enough money? Or is it that this excuse is preventing you from taking the action that you need in order to make the money to make the thing happen, right? Or another one is like, is it true that you wouldn't enjoy traveling to this place? Or is it just that you have this presupposition that actually is based on nothing at all except for your own vague ideas of what this place might be like? How about you give your brain proof by going to that place and then making a decision about, like, do I like this place or not? And by the way, you might find that you really like the place you travel to. And by the way, you might meet people that would actually, like, you know, inspire you to travel even more places. And so you're going into this upward spiral, all because of what? Your brain wants proof, not promises. So you're giving your brain proof, and you're allowing your brain to then unlock these new opportunities for you. And you're doing a very, very strict audit of your beliefs and your excuses that you're making. And then you're saying, okay, are these real or not? Let's put them to the test. Let's put them under the microscope. Is this real or not, right? So I hope this helps you, and I hope to see you sometime traveling out in the world, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.
This guy's good. All right, so if you guys have been following this whole Instagram sends me all over the world tour type of thing I've been doing, you know I literally been talking to people all over the world, and they've been talking to me about different things, from cars, the food, jewelry, whatever it is, and Ilya is no exception. Super cool dude. I can't say enough about him. Check him out. I'm going to leave his Instagram in the description below so you can contact him if you want to. And I just wanted you guys to hear what he had to say because he's really knowledgeable on what he was talking about. Yeah, so we did that. He just went back to his apartment, and I'm going to make my way back to the airport, and we are going to Tokyo, boys. You know how we do. I hate leaving a place, but I love going somewhere new. Well, Tokyo's not new, but you know what I mean. Let's do it.
No, Tony versus the world!